Welcome to Flash Tutorial Request 71, Drag, Drop, Mix. And what's going to take place here is we're going to have a program where items are clicked and dragged to a certain point, and as items are stacked on one another, their combined image will change. I'm going to start by opening a new FLA. I already have the CS6 program opened. Going to do a new FLA, ActionScript 3. I'm going to adjust my stage size to fit the window. That's good because as I move it like this, it always maintains that I can see my whole page. I'm going to call this ingredient, ing1. Select my rectangle tool. I want to come down here. I want no stroke, so under the stroke click here, and I don't care what color fill I have, and I'm going to hold my shift down and make a square. Pick up my selection tool, highlight it, modify it, convert it to a symbol, make sure movie clip is selected, and call this ing as in ingredient 1 underscore MC. Copy that. Okay, and you can see I have a movie clip ingredient 1, and it needs an instance name because we're going to write code on it, so paste it in there. Lock that layer, and now I'm going to make an ingredient 2 and an ingredient 3, each having their own layers. I'll do that and get back to you. I have 3 layers, and on each layer I have an ingredient. I have ingredient 1 on the first layer, I have ingredient 2 on the second, and ingredient 3 underscore MC on the third. Now I want to write the code that allows me to click and drag and drop these 3 ingredients. Make sure all my layers are locked. Select the top layer, come down here, insert a layer, call this ActionScript AS. Select frame 1, open the Actions panel. If you don't have the Actions panel docked here, go up here to Window, click Actions, it'll open the panel up, and when you get that panel, click and drag it down into here, and it will lock in there for you. I don't type quickly, so I have it copied. Now type. This is the code you're going to type in. I'll go through it, then I'll tell you how it works. 2 forward slashes, ingredient 1, drag and drop. This 2 forward slashes means this is just a comment that doesn't get read by the code. Ingredient 1 underscore MC, that's the movie clip this one right here. Period. Add event listener, small a, capital E, capital L, turns blue if it's spelt right. Open bracket, mouse event, capital M, capital E, that turns blue if it's spelt right. Period. Mouse underscore down. These are all uppercase, capital letters, MOUSE underscore DOWN, that turns blue. Now we're back to the black. Comma, I'm calling this function drag ingredient 1, DRAG ing1. I got a capital I. Close bracket. That works with this open bracket here. Semicolon. I then copied that, paste it here, and the only thing I had to change was turn the word down into up and turn this drag to drop. Then I have my semicolon. Now function function turns purple. Drag ingredient 1, that's this function right here. Open bracket, event, small e, VENT, turns blue. Colon, mouse event, capital M, capital E, turns blue. Close bracket, colon, void, VOID turns purple, same color as function. There's the open curly bracket for the function, and when you start writing this, usually this closed curly bracket comes in. If not, you need a closed curly bracket down here. And what we're going to do is start that drag. EVENT, small e, period, target, TARGET, small t, period, start drag, small s, capital D. That all turns blue. Open close bracket, semicolon, and there's my close curly bracket. You can then copy this, paste it, and what you're going to do is change drag ingredient 1 to drop ingredient 1. And down here, instead of saying start drag, you want to say stop drag. If you click this button here and there's no major code errors, they would come up. And if you want to click here, it'll organize it if you had something out of shape. For example, if I had this, whoops, that's not a good example. But if I had this stuck over there and clicked here, it'll put it down there for you. So now let's test this. Control, test movie, test. And that one won't move, that one won't move, but I can click and drag this one and leave it go. I'm going to copy all this and paste it in, and where I have a 1 for ingredient 1, everywhere I have a 1, I'm going to make that a 2. So I'll do that and get back to you. I have ingredient 2 done, and again I'm just going to make sure by clicking this that there's no errors. That saves me some time. And now I should be able to do 2 of the ingredients, movie clips. I should be able to move this one, not this one, and I should be able to move this one. So now let's do the same thing. Double click and paste it in, and again this time change it to a 3. I have all 3 done, and I just want to make sure they work. That one moves, and that one moves. Very good. Let's lock all the layers. Select this ingredient 1 layer, insert a layer, and this is going to be a bowl, BOWL, where we're going to mix our ingredients. Select frame 1. Let's make my stage a bit bigger. I want the rectangle tool. I want black for my stroke, and I want for my fill, no fill. I'm going to make a square by holding down the shift button. There's a square. Now I want my selection tool and get right on the corner. See, when you get that fuzzy square turns into a right angle, and pull it maybe almost a centimeter that way. ½ inch if you're not into centimeters. Try to make it symmetrical, that's up to you. Now click once on this line. You see how it turns dark? Right click, copy that. While that's still fuzzy, click off, get that arch again there, and slightly pull that down. Right click, paste in place. Click off to the side and get that top one and push that back a bit. Oh, I want it back a little more than that. And there's my container. You can play around with that. Lock that layer. Insert, make sure bowl selected. Insert a layer. Call it target. 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 Pick up the rectangle tool again. This time I want no stroke, and I want some kind of fill, and it does not matter, any color at all will do. And in the bottom of this bowl, make sure all the layers except the target layer is unlocked, everything else locked. Draw a little rectangle. Highlight it and put it up about there. Eventually we'll make this invisible so you can't see it. Now it's all fuzzy. If not, highlight it. Modify, convert it to a symbol. Make sure movie clip is selected. TAR, underscore MC. Copy that name and paste it in here on your properties as an instance name. Lock all the layers. Select the action layer. Open the actions panel. We now want to write some code for it. Come down at the bottom of all this code, put a couple enters, and type. That puts us right here. Stage, S-T-A-G-E, small s, period. Add event listener. You can go up here and copy that event listener word, or you can type it in. Small a, capital E, capital L turns blue. Open bracket. Event, E-V-E-N-T, capital E, period. This is all uppercase here. Enter underscore frame, E-N-T-E-R underscore F-R-A-M-E, all capitals. It turns blue. That's the end of the blue. Comma. Enter each frame. E, small e there, capital E here, capital F here. You can call it anything you want, as long as it doesn't turn blue or purple or a different color. Close bracket. There's the closed bracket that works with this open bracket. Semicolon. Function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N, turns purple. Enter each frame. You can copy this here, paste it in. Then I have an open bracket, small e, colon, event, capital E-V-E-N-T, that turns blue. Close bracket, colon, void. There's the open curly bracket for this function. And down the bottom, close curly bracket for this function. So see how it ends? It's going to end here in 2 eventually. So we have this open curly bracket. And now we're going to do a test. If IF turns purple, open bracket. There's that ingredient 1. When we click on it and drag it and it hits that target, something's going to happen. So ing1 underscore MC, capital I, that's ingredient 1, period. Hit test object, small h, capital T, capital O, that turns blue. Open bracket. We just made that movie clip called TAR, T-A-R, capital T underscore MC. Close bracket. That's closed bracket is for that closed bracket. And a second closed bracket that belongs to this one. There's an open curly bracket for the if statement. As soon as you start typing, something's going to happen. This is not part of it. So open curly bracket. And all we're going to do is trace 1. So T-R-A-C-E turns blue. Open bracket, quotation mark, 1, close quotation mark, close bracket, semicolon, and this second one here probably came in for you. If not, you should have 2 closed curly brackets. I'm just going to see if I have any errors. No. I'll just show you what happens. Let's say, if you don't know, let's say I didn't put one of these in. Let's say I did this, took one out, and tested it. It tells me I have an error. I'm missing a brace, right? I could call them right braces, but I call it closed curly bracket. There. Now if I test it, we know it's going to be okay, but let's test it. Test movie, test. It's number 1, which is this one here, I believe. When I hit it, over here on my output panel, it's tracing 1. Copy from here to there. Right click, copy. Come down here, get between those 2 braces, close curly brackets, couple enters, paste, and change this to ingredient 2 and have it trace 2. Click here between them now, couple enters, paste, and make this a 3. 3. Now all 3 should trace. If I drag this one in, bang, I'm tracing 3, tracing 2, tracing 1. So that works. Let's open up our timeline. Drop this down a little bit. Make sure all the layers are locked. Select the target layer. insert a layer, and let's call this ING1, ingredient 1, mix, capital MIX. That's what's going to be in here after ingredient 1 drops in. Let's come down like this. Let's lock all the layers. First of all, let's unlock the bowl layer, select the bowl, and if it doesn't look like that, highlight it with your selection tool, get that crosshairs, right click, copy it. Lock that layer, hide the bowl layer by clicking under this eyeball right there. Open the ingredient 1, unlock the ingredient 1 layer, select frame 1, come up here, right click, paste in place. Now click off to the side. Over here I want the straight line tool, and somewhere just below that line, draw a line like that. Now that's alright. I like to have that a little bit higher, so I'm going to Control Z. I want a little bit higher. There, that's better. Pick up your selection tool and delete that. Delete, highlight, delete, highlight, delete, click, delete, click and delete. So I just have this left. Come down to my fill. I got that little eyedropper. I want that to be the color for my mix 1, which is this. So I click on it. Now you can see that's what fill I have. Come up here, click on the fill button and fill that. Pick up your selection tool and get on to see how I get that square. Double click so that I'm just selecting the stroke around here. Delete that. Now all I have is the inside. Pick up my selection tool, highlight that, modify, convert it to a symbol, and call that ING as ingredient 1, capital MIX as in mix, underscore MC. Copy it and put it in for an instance name for that. I can now make all my layers visible and lock all my layers. Select the action layer, open the actions panel, and at the very top I want to make sure that this mix isn't shown yet, so I want to make it invisible. So click the very beginning, put a couple enters, arrow and key up, and type this short code. Type ingredient 1 mix underscore MC. That's that movie clip we just made. It's possible you could just do a right click and paste because you copied it and put it up here as an instance name. Period. Visible, VISIBLE, that turns blue, equals false, FLASE, that turns blue, small f, and a semicolon. So now if I tried it out, I wouldn't see this purple, in my case, fill. Now we got to write the code that makes this come back when we drop this and hit the target. So now let's go way down to where we got our hit. Down here is where ingredient 1 hits the target, and we know this works, so I'm going to just put 2 forward slashes. I don't need to see that anymore. And up above here I'm going to type some code. Type. Ingredient 1 mix underscore MC. That's that one we just made. We made it invisible by putting false. Period. Visible equals true, and a semicolon. Now you could come up here and copy this line if you want. Bring it down here, paste it in, but change false to true. Now at the same time that we make that mix appear in the bowl, we want to make the original ingredient 1 disappear. So ingredient 1 underscore MC, period, visible equals false, and a semicolon. So let's test that out. If I drag that in here, as soon as it hits there, it disappears, and there's our replacement. This is getting to be long. I'm going to stop now. There's going to be a follow-up. It'll be Flash Tutorial Request 72, Drag Drop Mix Part 2. Hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.